Today we discuss one of the biggest and most shocking stories in Cowboys Nation right now, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this. Before we jump in, let me ask you something important. I see that most of you who watch my videos every day still have not subscribed. It only takes 1 second and it really helps the channel grow. So before we start, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and join the family. It means a lot. Alright, let's get into it because today's topic is absolutely wild. The Dallas Cowboys are reportedly expected to part ways with their $136 million superstar wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Yes, you heard that right, CeeDee Lamb, the heart of our offense, the guy defenses fear, the player many thought would be the face of the Cowboys for the next decade, and now reports say the Cowboys may actually move on from him. I know this sounds unbelievable, but when you hear the full story, it starts making a lot more sense and also raises a lot of questions about the future of this franchise. My name is Alex, and today I am breaking down everything you need to know about this situation, why this could be happening, what went wrong behind the scenes, what this means for the Cowboys' future, and whether fans should be worried or excited. So sit tight, do not skip, and let's dig deep into what might be the biggest shakeup of the Cowboys roster in years. Now let's start from the beginning. CeeDee Lamb came into the NFL as one of the brightest young stars. Everyone knew he had elite talent, but what he became in Dallas was even bigger than the expectations. A true WR1, a game-changing playmaker, a player whose best trait was not just talent but consistency. Whether Dak Prescott was struggling or the offensive line was beat up, CeeDee always delivered, and when the Cowboys decided to invest $136 million into him, the message was clear: he was the future, a core piece, and the offense would be built around him for years to come. So how did we get from that to this, to headlines saying the Cowboys could part ways with him? It almost does not feel real, but when you start looking closely at everything happening around this team, the contract drama, the locker room tension, the financial decisions, the upcoming NFL draft, and the shifting direction of the franchise, a picture begins to form, and it is a picture Cowboys fans might not like. First, let's talk about money, because in the NFL, money talks louder than anything. The Cowboys are in one of the most difficult financial situations they have been in under Jerry Jones. They have multiple big contract decisions happening at the same time: Dak Prescott's future, Micah Parsons' massive upcoming deal, and several key defensive players who want extensions. And on top of that, the team still has to fix major roster problems if they want to contend. The offensive line needs help, the run game needs help, the defense needs more depth, and every year the Cowboys fall short. The pressure gets higher and higher. Now imagine trying to keep everyone while also paying your superstar wide receiver over $30 million per year. Something eventually has to give, and more it is starting to look like CeeDee Lamb might be the one they choose to give up. It sounds crazy, but the front office may be thinking long-term, not short-term. They know they cannot pay everybody, and if they have to choose between Dak, Micah, and CeeDee, well, historically the Cowboys always prioritize their quarterback and their defensive superstar. It is a very tough decision, but that is how the business side of the NFL works. But here is where things get even more interesting. This is not just about money, it is also about the relationship between CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys organization. Over the past months, we have seen signs of frustration, small signs, but signs nonetheless. There have been moments where Lamb looked unhappy with his targets, moments where he publicly questioned the play calling, moments where his body language said everything his words did not. And when a superstar feels like he is not being used the right way, or the team around him is not good enough, or the front office is not fully committed to winning, things start getting tense. We saw this with Dez Bryant, we saw this with Amari Cooper, and now history might be repeating itself with CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys are known for big decisions that shock fans, and this could be the next one. But here is the biggest question: why now? Why would the Cowboys consider moving on from a top 5 receiver at the peak of his career? Well, the answer might be the most surprising part of all: trade value. CeeDee Lamb is at his highest value ever. Some teams would give up 2 first-round picks, some might offer star players, plus high draft capital, and the Cowboys know that if they want to rebuild, retool, or reshape the roster in a major way, this is the kind of move that changes everything instantly. Imagine adding multiple top picks, imagine adding young stars on cheap contracts, imagine freeing up tens of millions in salary to rebuild the offensive line and add playmakers on both sides of the ball. These are the thoughts the Cowboys front office is quietly considering. They have to think about the future, not just the Present and speaking of the future, here is what nobody is talking about. The Cowboys already have their eyes on the next generation of receivers. This upcoming draft class is loaded. Some scouts say it is one of the best WR groups in the last 10 years. Young, explosive, cheap wide receivers compared to a $136 million contract. You can see why this temptation is growing inside the Cowboys front office. But before we go too far, let's talk about how fans feel, because Cowboys Nation is not quiet. They are loud, passionate, and very clear about what they want. And right now, most fans want CeeDee Lamb to stay. They love him. They trust him. They see him as part of the culture. They see him as a player who could win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys if the right pieces are put around him. So if the Cowboys really decide to part ways with him, the fan reaction could be explosive. Some might turn on the organization. Some might demand a full rebuild. Some might lose hope for next season. And all of that is something Jerry Jones has to think about. Now let's talk about Dak Prescott, because this is a huge piece of the puzzle. Dak and CeeDee have one of the strongest QB-WR connections in the league. Their chemistry is top tier, and removing CeeDee from this offense could completely change Dak's future. In Dallas, if the Cowboys move on from Lamb, could that mean they are ready to move on from Dak next? Could this be the beginning of a full rebuild? Could the Cowboys be preparing for a new quarterback, a new offense, and a new identity? These are the kinds of questions the front office must answer before making a decision this massive. And let's be honest, if the Cowboys lose both Lamb and Dak, the entire team could look completely different next season. New players, new leaders, new direction. But now let's flip it. What if this move actually helps the Cowboys long term? What if the team gains valuable draft capital? What if they get a defensive superstar, or multiple top picks, or a young quarterback to build around? What if this move sets up a brighter, more explosive future? The truth is, nobody knows yet. This could be a mistake, or it could be a master plan. It all depends on what the Cowboys get in return and how they use it. But one thing is clear: this is not a small story. This is franchise changing, team changing, culture changing, and it could define the next 5 years of Cowboys football. Whether you love the idea or hate it, the Cowboys are thinking about everything very carefully. Now let me ask you something. What do you think? Should the Cowboys keep CeeDee Lamb and pay him the full $136 million, or should they trade him now and build a new roster with the assets they get? And if they do move on from him, what should they target? More offense, more defense, or a new quarterback?